I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I f***ing hate video games, because this is what it does. It appeals to like the male fantasy.
Why is everything healing today? What is up with that? Did I miss the memo? Why is every monster healing? Like, I just saw that snake was healing. Like, I know some monsters can heal, and that's why you need cannot prevent monster heal in hell, but everything is healing. Worked in patient care for 10 years. That's really interesting, man. That's that's yeah, indeed. Oh, and you know the best part? The runs haven't even started yet. Hello and welcome to what is going to be a recap of the best drops that I got from 3,000 runs of running with the Blizzard Sorceress. And yes, that Jar rune was indeed on Players 1, and I did find it before the actual run started because RNG. What I was really doing there was farming essences so that I could cube them up and make a token of absolution or whatever it's called, so that I could respec from my lightning build, which I was using to clear the game, into a blizzard build which would be much more suitable for running. Running what exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. A few months ago I made a video titled How to Get Started with MFing in Diablo 2 and explained in it a route that I believe is pretty cool for the Sorceress. It starts with a Mephisto run because, of course, what self-respecting MF Sorceress doesn't cheese kill Mephisto, am I right? Not only that, but it is a pretty solid place to find some early essentials like Shaco and Skulders and the lot. These runs were done on Players 3 for the most part. Next we move on to an LK run at Player 7. This is a hidden gem of a place that I think no matter what you're running, you should always have as an add-on because this place pays out like all the time. With 1000 runs on average luck, you can expect at least one high rune, and I'll take those kind of odds any day, considering that the run is like 20 seconds long. Finally, we finish up with Ancient Tunnels at Players 5, the most juicy and exciting place of them all, giving me a good balance of finding easy to find essential stuff from Mephisto, and then also some not so easy to find not essential at all stuff from Ancient Tunnels. So without further ado, let's get started. First drop comes from Run 0. Yeah, I ended up finding like a cold skiller before the run started too. Yeah, that too on a Blizzard Sorceress. Yeah, I know you hate me already. Next drop I found, which was the first one for the actual project, was on 136 and it came from Ancient Tunnels of all places, a unique mithril coil which was a pretty sweet dungos. 40 to Vitality, which is a perfect roll, and 13% DR, which is 2 off of perfect. It would be great on a uber running melee character who could also maybe make use of this next drop, my first good unique amulet, High Lord's Wrath. Love this one personally because the IAS is such a cool stat to have, which makes the life of a lot of builds much easier. Also, if we're talking about doing ubers, you can never have too much lightning res. That also is going to be generally the theme of this video. Me showing items that I feel that I can actually use somewhere going forwards. Unlike some Diablo 2 YouTubers, I'm not the kind of guy who'll be like, oh my god, look at this unique heavy crossbow, guys, oh shit, that's a GG find right there. Like, no. Hell, I don't even react well when it is a GG drop. Just look at this next clip. Okay. Actually, that reaction was kind of over the top. It usually takes at least a bird to get an okay out of me, but I digress. Another thing that could get an okay out of me actually is a TC-87, especially if it is rare to the point that I have never found it ever before in this game, a unique caduceus, Astrian's Iron Ward. This thing holds up a lot of people's grail, but it won't be doing that for me. Well, mostly because I'm not keeping track of a holy grail, but secondly, well, because I found it, right? The thing is, where am I gonna use it? It is too slow for a melee character because of the base. I guess the +4 to skills can be used on a Hammerdin or whatever the new caster build people are running on the Paladin, but then it's like, where's the FCR? And the resistances that I could get with Hodo instead, right? It's just another case in the game where it goes from holy shit, I can't believe I found this item to wait, why couldn't I believe I found this item? This is useless. Tends to happen a lot. Hey now, it's not all bad though, because there are still some other awesome things to find. Things like a unique swirling crystal from Mephisto on 195, the Oculus. See, this is part of the problem. A relatively easy to find mid-level item with stats that trump 99% of the TC-87s out there, and yet, do you really want to live in a world without Oculus? Yeah, I didn't think so. To be fair, yes, it is really good with a lot of its stats actually mirroring that of the aforementioned Hodo, but I think it is nicely balanced as well, and by that I obviously am referring to the 25% chance to cast teleport. Yeah, that thing is no sweat if you're just running Mephisto, but take that thing into the ancient tunnels and you may have a couple of exclamation mark chat moments on your hand. If you know, you know. Another great mid-level item was dropped to me by Mephisto at 153. You know, during the streams, I did bash this guy a lot because there is a lot that he didn't drop me, but the stuff that he did drop, like this Geeds, I mean, holy hell. Perfect magic find, 4 off of perfect gold find, and 1 off of perfect for vendor prices. In other words, not perfect. Yeah, I was completely justified in bashing Mephisto. Guy's useless. Should have run Andy instead. I guess she wouldn't have kept me waiting 50 runs for my next drop, which was a TC-87, so it wasn't even from him, it was from AT, Grish Shield. This seems at first glance to be one of those, since it is a TC-87, I'm obligated to put this in the video kind of drops, and it mostly is, but I guess it could be used as a good hand-me-down item for a mini playthrough of a smiter, if I ever decided to do one. It's got a good base with good smite damage, and the 45 to all res along with 3 open sockets will be something I think any character in hell would appreciate. Nothing more than that though. Next drop was at run 232 and it was a Mal rune. Not quite a high rune, but it's still pretty solid and an essential piece to by building my first CTA quest. Also, if I ever want to do a build a Shadow Disciplines Assassin's quest, I found a pretty good item for her. A skiller with 28 to life. Now I am no fortune teller, but yeah, I don't see that quest ever really becoming a real thing anytime soon. So this thing is just a bummer. Okay, so for the next few drops I forgot to turn the recording on, so the footage is from the stream. Next up, the item I found was on run 265 and it was
You know. You all know exactly who I am. Now, say my name.
It's a piece of trash.
You're goddamn right.
Moving swiftly onwards, my next drop was on run 273 and it was another Oculus, an item with no rolls, so the only reason that I would put a dupe in this video is because I indeed ended up finding an ethereal Oculus. Not gonna lie, I pussied out of using the old one after dying a few too many times in AT, but it seems like the game is making me an offer that I can't refuse, and it would be too rude to turn it down twice. Next, we had a nice double drop. Mephisto and the likes love to do those, and this time it was a facet and a unique amulet in conjunction. I'll save you the suspense, both were mediocre. The facet was a 5/3 poison, always a disappointing sight to see poison, and the amulet was a Seraph's. That one actually eluded me for a long time in D2 LOD, so at least there's that. Also check out this perfect ward. Not gonna lie, I was more excited about this than both of the other two combined. So the next few drops all happened on the same day and were a little bit insane, just warning you. We start at 1331 where Mephisto dropped me the good old Eldritch Orb, which upon identifying turned out to be a 320-ish shooters for lightning. Although I much prefer something like a Crescent Moon on my lightning sorceresses, I shall not grumble at this roll. I'll take it and run. Next was my first Iraq of Diablo 2 Resurrected, the very next run from Mephisto. You never forget your first, and this is a great find for any caster trying to reach higher FCR breakpoints, as now it gives me a chance to go for 105 FCR with my Sorceress, if I so choose. However, I chose to stick with the higher MF that my current gear provided me and see all the good that that did me in this next clip. It made me think for a second that this was a lacquered plate. Oh, also a Cham rune. Yeah, just the highest rune that I've ever found. That happened too. What also happened was me finding Azorath from Mephisto the very next run as well. So if you're keeping score, in 4 runs I found a 320 Ashutas, an Arak, a Cham Rune, and an Azorath. Yeah, this is a pretty cool find on its own, especially with the newly buffed Barb Mercs, since with the Sanctuary Aura, they do really well in Ancient Tunnels since most of the monsters there are undead. Okay, so after that frenzy, let's all just calm down, and a good way to do that is to find something not so ridiculous on run 356. Or we can just find an Ohm Rune instead. Yep, that works too. At this rate, I actually might end up finding more high runes in 3000 runs than I did in my 9000 project. Okay, alright. It's not even funny anymore. It's... no. What? Indeed, reaction Shinmei. Indeed. LK was not done with me yet though, since I got a nice little double drop on run 399. 2 small charms with perfect resistance rolls. 11 lightning res first from this chest, and the next one gave me one with 11 cold res and 9 to life as a nice little bonus as well. Mephi bounced back next with a drop on run 403. Remember when I found my first Arax, I said you never forget your first? Well, this one was even more special, as on this run I found my first Talzami in D2R. It is always satisfying to find something so good that you can immediately switch to it, and this Ami with its immense offensive and defensive potential for the Sorc is definitely a keeper, especially as it takes me one step closer to completing that elusive 3-piece Tal set. Next up, we found another drop from Uncle Meph at run 412, a Skiller Grand Charm which was a poison and bone skiller with 22% gold find, perfect for the gold find necro. You know, the one character that's a must-have for everyone. Next on the same run, so I guess we can count this as a double drop, I found a Gull from LK. Pretty useful mid-rune for Kingslayer or just cubing up to a Vex to make a Hodo. A Skiller was up next. You do a few thousand runs of Diablo 2, you're bound to find a few of these. This one was mildly useful though, +1 to Warcries. You know, nobody really is going to complain about a +1 to BO now, would they? Nobody would complain about a more powerful Poison Nova either, as my next Skiller on run 492 allows me to get just that. All that and a more widely ranged Corpse Explosion. +1 to Poison and Bone skills again. Next up we had Mephisto dropping a unique. Kind of seems rare in this challenge. Kind of forgot that he had the ability, but on run 537 he did indeed prove me wrong by dropping a unique Demon Head, Endariel's Visage. Quite possibly the worst one ever, literally the worst possible lifesteal and 1 off of anti-perfect strength. Doesn't really matter though, because it was better than the Crown of Thieves my mercenary was currently wielding. Especially with that massive poison rest that is going to help him a ton in AT. Run 557 was the craziest one by far. Yes, I found a Jaw Rune and yes, I found a Cham Rune, but that's the first time that has ever happened in my life. Unique Sacred Armor from Ancient's Tunnel. Yeah, sure, it was the green one, because of course it was, and it was bad in pretty much all roles. But that's not why you get excited to find this item. You get excited because for a split second you think that a random run in Ancient Tunnels on a Tuesday night got you the rarest item in the game. Yep, that is indeed the game we play, folks. I mean, how do you even follow that up? Probably with run 609 where I found a unique Ami and a unique ring. The Ami was Crescent Moon, you know, the one with dual leech. So that's pretty nice, as it has decent-ish rolls. I can't really be mad though, because the ring was a really good find, Volcato's Wedding Band, which apparently I pronounced incorrectly. +3 lifesteal unfortunately, but always appreciate a find that I can put on my characters immediately. Not to mention, now that SOJs have a different purpose in spawning the big bad Diablo, PK rings are a lot more valuable. The unique jewelry run didn't end there, as on run 622 I found another unique amulet, Atma's Scarab. A super niche but still nice amulet for some more obscure and experimental builds like the Boazon would benefit from this pretty greatly. Okay, well, I think it has been a couple of minutes since I last found a high rune in this video, so here we go. On 1630 with a low rune from Ancient Tunnels. Pretty sure that is the highest rune that you can get from that chest as well, so that's pretty cool. Also the fact that I just keep finding high runes. Yeah, that is cool too. Next up was a classic Chinmay drop. A skiller, a bad skiller, and a bad assassin skiller with life. +1 to martial arts with 19 to life. You love to see it. Probably deserve it honestly after the HR luck that I've been getting. Well, I say that, and in the next drop, what I find is a trap skiller. Listen to this reaction. Alright, flippin' finally a traps GC, holy moly. Now that is a man that has been wronged by RNG. How can you not empathize? It's okay if you don't, because this poor man just got a Vex rune 4 runs later. You may argue whether this is a high rune or not, but no one can argue that it is an essential piece in creating one of the best rune words in the game, Heart of the Oak. Not gonna make it now though, because Oculus is better than Hodo, don't at me. But yeah, for future caster builds, this will be very helpful. Next on run 696, nice, I got another one of these things, a martial arts skiller. You now see why I was relieved to find that traps GC, because this is what I'm usually getting. Okay, the next drop was pretty nice though, since it was an Ist rune from the Ancient Tunnels. Sure, I have found plenty of runes higher than that, but this particular one was something that I had been waiting for a while, since it was the final piece of the puzzle I needed to build my first CTA. 343. You know what? I'll take it. Everything in my body was telling me that I was going to get a 1BO, and when I did finally build this thing, 343 is perfectly acceptable for now. Now with the CTA upgrade, this meant that I could handle bosses at higher player's difficulty. This was me killing a player's 5 Mephisto. Before he used to Shrek my mercenary at even player's 3 here, but as you can see, the extra buff of HP from the CTA makes a huge difference. Not to mention, higher player's difficulty equals more drops equals more chances of finding something sick, like this rainbow facet that turned out to be 5/5 fire. Pretty good. To go along with the fire facet, the game decided to be very nice and dropped me a +3 shooters with 20% fire damage, the max roll for both. Now that's a hot damn find right there. I now have a +320 light and a +320 fire shooters. Just gotta get both those rolls on the same one for the dream, but this is still pretty incredible and could actually turn out to be pretty useful to juice up any fire sorceress build. Next on run 788, I got another cool combo from Mephisto. First, I got a Cerebus's Bite. That's nice, you know. In D2R, they actually show the headgear that you're wearing pretty prominently on your character sprite, so this would, I imagine, look pretty rad on a druid. You know, for the little while that you won't be shapeshifted, that is. What is more rad than this though is this SC. Second time I think that this has happened where some random drop is more exciting than the thing that I was excited for. 3 max damage, 19 AR and 2 to strength. That's a solid charm right there. Another charm on run 805, this time a completely different kind, this being of the grand variety, but still a banger. +1 to cold skills and 33% gold find. Finding cold skillers on Bliss Sorcs is like the best thing ever, since it is just a direct upgrade. This one I think I would have been much more excited for in LOD because of the gold find. However, in D2R, just from the auto pickup of gold and the fact that I still haven't found a Skulders and have to rock a wealth armor, I have pretty much already maxed out all my stashes and character gold, so creating a standalone gold find character really doesn't even seem necessary. Alright, on the home stretch now boys, and you know we gotta end with some high runes. Just fitting in it. So on run 856, LK dropped me yet another one, a Sur rune, probably making this my most profitable 1000 run LK session ever. Oh, who am I kidding? There was still one thing left. Which nicely brings us on to the reason why this video took so long after my last one. I just stopped playing, lol. But the day I came back, a Burr rune dropped for me in LK. Ah yes, there it is. I think that completes the set. So yeah, I think that streaming these runs was a really bad idea since it thoroughly burnt me out. Having to follow a routine of doing like 2 hours of grinding all in one go, then too I couldn't have anything running in the background, it was just too much. Not to mention I play much worse while I'm on stream. When I finished the final 150 runs of this project off camera, literally only a couple of them edged over 3 minutes, a time that I honestly was struggling to achieve while live. Anywho, this whole ordeal, almost 3,000 runs, 75 hours of farming, was leading up to this, a unique Shaco from Mephisto. Okay, right, so somehow I deleted the footage of me finding a Shaco. I have no idea how, but trust me guys, it happened. Okay, it might seem like I only find common things like jaw and burr runes, but I did finally find my first Shaco in Diablo 2 Resurrected from Mephisto like 900 runs in. Just gotta do one thing. There we go. Managed to save the footage of that, Chinmay. Well done. Well, we magic finding now. That's because as it turns out, this run compilation isn't over. We still have 2 or so drops to go, and they were actually kind of fruity. First was the small charm from Ancient Tunnels, which was very close to being literal MLG. 34 to attack rating and 19 to life. 2 and 1 off of perfect rolls on either stats. This honestly might be one of the more valuable things that I have found, or so the internet tells me. Don't shoot the messenger. Then was a considerably less but still decent charm, this time of the grand variety as it was a fire skiller for the Sorceress. Honestly, I found some belter set of items for fire sorks in this whole compilation, and it is only fitting that we end with one final one as well, a 5/4 fire facet. Well, this was a journey. Hope you liked it. Hardcore series starts tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. GMT, right here on YouTube. Yours truly, with love.